The problem is overtime. In a lot of traditional families, you like to have a guy who can support a family. And right now in the government, we're in a position of doing all we can to make sure the guys don't get as many jobs. Now, some guys are going to work hard. They're going to get the good jobs anyway. They're going to find their own company or whatever. I'm just saying right now we're in a government policy of seeing whatever we can do for any big company. We'd rather promote the women. And that will sink the country too. So those are three things that will destroy the country. You probably haven't heard it from any other politicians you hear. Have you heard about those issues from any other politicians? No. That's a problem. So when you see these other politicians walk around, say, I heard last year that 41% of the children in this country were born without a father. What are you going to do about it? I hear that we are in a process of giving all our new immigrant groups, putting at their head that they shouldn't be happy, smiling to be in America, but they should be bitter and angry and expect something because their ancestors are from Mexico or Vietnam or Pakistan. What are you going to do about it? And I hear that big companies are required whenever they can to hire the women over the men. And I don't necessarily think it's a good thing because I got a son and I got a husband or whatever want a job. What are you going to do about it? That's what I'm asking for this group. Stand up to these worthless Democrats who push this and the worthless, spineless Republicans who stand by the sideline and don't do anything about it. So I'd like to thank you for being here today and showing up. I will hang around. How much longer am I supposed to talk? I'll talk longer. Do you want more of me or you want more of Ms. Belke here? I'll answer a couple of questions. I'll try to hang around here a little past noon. One of the things politicians do to always stay elected is I'm going to give an Eagle Scout Award to a kid in Kewaskum at 1 o'clock, so I got to take off eventually. But I'll take a couple of questions, and otherwise you can hear me talk about another issue. Any questions for the politician? Oh, yes. Obviously, we have a problem in this country with regard to immigration, and it's another problem that neither party is dealing with. Our country is a country of immigrants, which is wonderful. Almost all of the ancestors of the people in this parking lot were immigrants from another country at one time or another. The problem is, for about the last 20 years, clearly both parties have decided, rather than to let people in this country who've been waiting patiently on a waiting list for 20 years, they would rather let somebody slide across the border with a criminal record. That is obviously the policy of Barack Obama, it was the policy of George Bush, it was the policy of Bill Clinton, probably the policy of Bush the Senior. What can we do on a state level? First of all, I think we ought to be much more aggressive in making sure immigrants, illegal immigrants, really all immigrants, but immigrants, do not take advantage of our over-generous welfare system because it means we are inviting the slackers into our country. It means we ought to be much more aggressive when people are caught engaging in criminal behavior, deporting them. It means when lousy, slimy government organizations like the MATC board or the Milwaukee School Board vote to say we wouldn't even do business with a state like Arizona, we ought to let them hear about it. By the way, who's here from Germantown, since we're in Germantown? Okay. Yeah, I would ask your school board to pass a resolution, since they're part of the Milwaukee Area Technical College District, pass a resolution saying you're embarrassed by their behavior and sending it to the Arizona legislature and say you're embarrassed by the behavior of the Milwaukee Area Technical College Board, which is a bunch of screwballs. Yeah, that's right, we got Diane here. Is Diane hanging out here? I saw her there. I believe sometimes they do and usually they don't. That's my guess. I believe that's accurate. But in any event, there's another issue that will sink us. I would say, by the way, there are these goofy people who think for some reason that it's wrong to enforce immigration laws. But it's unchristian. We got a big problem in this country with bad clergy. I would guess every country throughout human history has immigration laws. You know, nobody can tell me that France wouldn't be upset if tomorrow 5 million people from Spain walked into France. Right? I know Mexico would be ballistic if tomorrow 1 million people walked from Guatemala into Mexico. I know that. they wouldn't stand for it. Nevertheless, there are people out there who expect us to be the only country in the world without immigration laws. And the United States lets more people into our country legally every year than the rest of the world put together. Nevertheless, we have confused American haters out there who expect us to accept everybody under the sun from the whole world. There is nothing wrong with saying we're only going to let 1 million or 2 million people a year in this country legally, because we'll still be letting more people, new people in this country legally than the rest of the world put together. There's nothing wrong with it. And if you have a goofy clergyman who for some reason expects America to be the first country in the history of the world without immigration laws, just set him straight. Any other questions? Yes. Hey, just tell me the question.
Well, I was in Madison a couple of months ago when the legislature was trying to pass some really destructive laws. One of them, and I can't remember all the issues because the state and national governments are so bent on raising so many things. I just wanted to thank you for being on the right side of some issues. One of them being cross-border law issues.
Well, you'll notice he's just a guy saying nice things about me, so that's the type of questions we like. But if you'll notice on the stuff that I handed out, my email address is on there in my office, and if you want to get more stuff from me or want to correspond with me, just email me and say, add me to my permanent list. Okay, any other questions? On with, just a minute, let me look at the calendar for the day. Oh my goodness, I have longer to go. I can hang around here and ask another question, talk about another issue. I started early. What do we do? Yes?
Is Doyle going to be investigated for his raiding of various funds and his underhanded deals and his killing of businesses and jobs in this dear state of ours?
No, none of what it is illegal. That's what happens when people don't pay attention when they vote. And by the way, I'm going to encourage you to pay attention to some of these Republicans too and keep them on the... I believe if you'll notice carefully, we right now are not in the top 10 in the country in taxes. We're like 15th and 16th. We were always in the top 10 under Tommy Thompson. So you got to watch these liberal Republicans too. There was another issue. Yes. Right. You've got to take away the entitlements. What you've got to do, I mean, people will say that's harsh. We never had this problem 45 years ago. You can't get rid of them all, but you can't. I'll tell you what I hear when I get around. And you don't hear it from a lot of people because a lot of people don't come up to me. But I hear complaints from women who tell me that their sister who didn't get married is better off than them. My sister's kids are getting free college tuition. My sister has a nicer apartment than me and my husband have. The gal walking through the Sendix checkout over there is buying food that the clerk behind the counter can't afford. Okay? Your government health care is better than your average health. Your government provided free health care is better because there's less deductible or copay than the health care you get if you're working. I mean, right down the line, the benefits for doing it wrong are better than doing it right for far too many people. And by the way, a problem we have in this country is that insofar as this issue is being addressed, the issue is being addressed by people who think these benefits aren't great enough. It's really true. The Republicans aren't coming out saying reduce these benefits. The liberals are saying these should be greater. Now, one thing I want to tell you about too. So when you understand, where was I reading this thing? They talk about people in poverty.